Okay, so as you can tell from the title, this is going to be a video revolving around Madden. I was just playing Madden 19, and I don't know, a lot of times when I'm playing these games, I get different ideas in my head while playing the game, and decided to make my first ever Madden wish list. Now, I have some ideas on the ways to make the game better, and of course, I know not all things can be implemented into the game, and this is just a hopeful thing. Hopefully, somebody comes across this video and able to use anything that I put out there. But I don't know. I was just writing down some ideas, and I'm gonna just give a couple of ideas on ways to improve the game. Now, the way they have Madden right now is almost for the casual fan. Like, I'm a casual Madden player, and what I mean by casual is I'm not hardcore online. I don't really do much like that, and when I do play online, I don't get the most enjoyable experience from playing the game. A lot of times it feels like Madden is just this animation-filled whirlpool of bullshit that you kind of gotta manage. Otherwise, you wind up raging and all types of shit like that. And I don't really like raging over video games. It's not that important. But I do have some ideas on ways to improve the game. Now, one of the ways that I think the game could be improved, I think that they had this years ago. I would say around 2007. They had an ability system where each position had a specific ability that helps the position. Like certain players who have these abilities, it sets them apart from everybody else. And here's a few ideas for abilities I think that could be implemented into the game to make each player feel different. And I'll give an example of the kind of player I mean. All right, so for the quarterback, obviously, in the actual NFL, nothing sets a quarterback apart from other quarterbacks than fourth quarter play. And I think adding a badge called or adding an ability called Captain Comeback, where to start the fourth quarter or at any point in the fourth quarter, if the team is down and the quarterback has this ability, it gives them +5 to every passing attribute that they have. And as long as they're down, that +5 will be applied to them. But not every ability can be for most players. It's only a select few. And obviously, it'll be for like Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers or, I would even throw Ben Roethlisberger in there. I would say Ben Roethlisberger would qualify for this badge. I don't know about Eli anymore. I keep thinking maybe Eli. I'm not sure. But also, let's move on to halfback. There's this idea for an ability I have. It's called Smash and Dash, which was inspired by Lindell White of the Titans, when him and Chris Johnson were on the team. Now, how this works is if you have two running backs on your team, one an elusive back and one a power back, if both of these players have one of these abilities, like if the elusive back has the dash, the power back has the smash. If they're both on the team, it gives both of them a +3 boost to their power for the power back, in their speed and elusive abilities for the elusive back. Now, how it works is you would have to use these players simultaneously. Like you can't use the speed back for 5 plays in a row without at least using the power back for 1 or 2 of those plays. If you do, you lose the boost. As long as you keep doing it, you will have the boost +3. But you would have to have one power back, one elusive back. Now, for backs that I would consider eligible for these badges, it'll be like a smash badge would be like a Marshawn Lynch or some player like that, and a dash badge would be for like a LaShawn McCoy, somebody like that. I'm thinking about more badge ideas. I may make a video, explaining some more of those. But also have a couple badges here for different positions. I have wide receiver / tight end, a badge called chain mover. Now how it works is if you have a wide receiver or a tight end on your team with the chain mover badge, when they get a first down at any point, if that receiver gets a first down for the next 4 plays, he has +3 to his receiving stats for 4 plays. Now, if he gets a first down at any point, the timer starts. The countdown starts over, and like let's say if he has 2 plays left to get a first down, if he gets a first down, and you have to get a first down with that receiver that has the badge. If he gets a first down with like 2 plays left to go, it restarts back to 4, and you have another 4 plays to keep doing it. Now, some of these abilities will have stack abilities, like WWE 2K19 has, where you can stack different things, like win streaks. They have a stack ability that it amplifies the effects the more you do them. Now, for certain abilities, you'll be able to stack them 3 times, 5 times, maybe even 10 times, depending on how. I think there should be like a leveling system. How you got gold, bronze, silver for 2K. I think it should be something like that. And depending on how good the badge is, it depends on how much you can stack the moves. Now, for offensive line, I have something called Flapjacker. Some of these names can change, but Flapjacker is all 5 of your offensive linemen. If one offensive lineman gets a pancake block, it's +1 for every single offensive lineman and every passing stat on the field. If 2, then it's +2. If 3, it's +3. It goes on to all 5, and so it's +5 for your blocking stats for your offensive linemen. But it's only certain offensive linemen. Your whole offensive line, only the ones that have the Flapjacker, is it benefits from this ability, and I think that's a pretty cool ability, especially when you talk about running the ball. For the last few years, I thought that the blocking in the game was kind of dumb. Like it was kind of dumbed down. Like I would see like when I would return a kick, it just felt like the blockers weren't making intelligent blocking decisions. It just felt like the game was telling them to block somebody, so they was just finding somebody to block, but they would leave somebody wide open. Like I just had a kickoff return, and I have a blocker in front of me, and there's 2 guys. And depending on who he blocks would determine how I would maneuver. But his block came so late that I got caught before I was able to do anything because I didn't know who he was going to block. So I believe the blocking system could be fixed. And most of this is just gameplay stuff. But Hawkman for defense. Now with this ability, obviously from the title, I'm pretty sure most would know, Ball Hawk is a player's ability to find the ball, like Ed Reed. Ed Reed is a good one. How it will work is if a defender with this ability, whoever it is, it could be a defensive lineman, but I don't think a defensive lineman would be eligible for this kind of badge. But if a defender has this ability, if they're within 5 yards of the pass anywhere, they could be behind the receiver, they could be in front of the receiver, they could be somewhere else. But if they're within, you know what? I'll go 10 yards, because if you throw a deep ball, I mean, if a player has this badge, you will want them 10 yards away to be able to sniff the ball out. They get +3 to all of their defensive ratings when it comes to ball in air, like SWAT, interception, stuff like that. And it triggers certain animations that give you spectacular interception catches. Like sometimes you'll see a defender, he'll fly across the field. The ball is about to fly out of bounds, and he'll tippy-toe catch the ball going out of bounds, or, stuff like that. Some of this stuff can be OP a little bit, but, I don't know. I think it kind of separates good interception guys from just, regular defensive backs out there that, don't really have the capability of picking a ball off that way. Like Marcus Peters a couple years ago, his 8 interceptions. I think he would qualify for this badge. But in no way does Hawkman makes the defender better in coverage. It just helps them locate the ball when it's in the air. Now, if they get left, they get left. So, but it does help them defensively. Like as far as tracking the ball down. I had a badge on here. It was called 52 Means Pain. It was a tribute to Ray Lewis. Now, how this works is, if any of your defenders who has this badge, mostly it'll be just linebackers, but if they have this badge, what will happen is and it stacks up to about 3, how it will win it. If a linebacker clean hit sticks, offensive player, clean hit stick, and if it's able to connect, it's +1 to all their defensive stats. Well, not all of them, but like play recognition, pursuit, tackling, hit power is +1, and it goes to 3, so you could get up to +3 if you hit stick enough. The effects last for the rest of the drive. Once the drive is over, that's it. But if they're able to force a fumble, it's +5 in every single defensive category, and it lasts for the next 2 possessions. Kind of like a momentum type thing. It helps them momentum-wise. And I got something on here for the kicking game to help with the kicking. It's called Legatron. Now, what happens is the fourth quarter, it has to be 10 seconds or less. With about 10 seconds or less, if you're in position to kick a field goal to win the game, it has to be a game winner, not a game-tying field goal, a game winner. The kicker that has this ability will get +5 to every kicking stat they have. Now, a kicker that can knock down a 55-yarder will be able to kick a 60 to a 63-yard field goal with this ability. If it's a game-winning field goal, because I've seen some pretty impressive 60-yard game-winning kicks. Now, these are not abilities. The abilities thing is over. Now, these are gameplay improvements. I have on here, weather should matter. Now, with certain players can play in cold, certain players can play in warm weather, certain players can play in, like in Denver, where, it's not, the altitude is higher, so the air quality is lower. That may make some players nauseous or, lightheaded, stuff like that. It may affect them physically. Denver Stadium should have the biggest advantage in the game. See as how it's literally higher up, so it affects certain, like Ryan Clark for the Pittsburgh Steelers when he used to play for them. He had like a liver or a lung disorder or something like that, or illness, and he couldn't play against Denver because I believe it would have made him extremely sick if he would have went up there. So he had to miss that game. That should matter. Certain things should matter. This is why you need to implement certain personality traits and stuff like that, like how 2K has it. I believe Madden would significantly benefit from personality traits. It would have drastically improved the game. Like a game on turf should be it should be a higher scoring game than a game on grass, than a game in snow, than a game when it's raining. When it's raining and it's snow, it should be a lower scoring game. Passing the ball should be harder to do. Passes should just fly all over the place. It should be like an increase in accuracy. It should promote more running. And I believe like players that run the ball, like running backs, should get a boost in the rain. And in the snow, because you mostly see more running in the snow and in the rain than you see passing. Another one is remove real player motion. Now, I've tried to play Madden this year, and I tried to give real player motion a chance. Real player motion, it ruins the game. It ruins being able to run. because it looks weird, it feels weird, and then a lot of times it doesn't feel like the player even responds to what you want them to do. Like, I like the fact that you're able to one cut. Like, if you're not holding on the speed button or the turbo button, and you're able to just, maneuver left and right. I like the way that feels. It could be polished. You can polish it without ruining that. But real player motion needs to go. An appropriate animation system. Now, I've told people there's no way you can have this game and it be 100% realistic. You can't have a fun game and realistic game at the same time. Real football won't be fun to play because there's so much that goes into the game that it would almost feel boring in a way. Like, the Madden you play is not simulation football. It's really not. It's not even close to being. I could say the only game that's simulation to how it is in real life is wrestling. WWE 2K19 is probably as close to simulation as you're going to get because real wrestling isn't really real wrestling. But a real sport like basketball, a real basketball game to play, simulation style, is not as fun as people think it is. So you can't really have a fun and a simulation game at the same time. So you have to substitute something. Either you're going to make a simulation game or you're going to make a fun game. But there is a way you can make the fun game a little more stable. Because, this Madden here is unstable as hell. An appropriate animation system. A lot of times when I play the game, it feels like a lot of plays are forced on me. It's not even that I'm making terrible decisions, because a lot of times I do make terrible decisions, but sometimes I don't make terrible decisions. I feel like terrible outcomes are forced on me for some reason. So an appropriate animation system would help. It would be better. Like, if I know, and then even if I know the animation is coming, it should almost feel natural for it to come because of whatever situation. And it should be random. It shouldn't always happen in that situation. It should be random. And a lot of it is not random. Another thing that I think would improve the game, because they gave it 2 years, they tried, it didn't work. Long shots need to go. Long shots does not work. The way it is, it doesn't even feel like an NFL game. It feels like a movie you have to watch revolving around football. I mean, shit, I have more fun watching Varsity Blues than I actually have playing long shots. I mean, they do a better job with the journey in FIFA than they do with long shots. This is how I wouldn't even call it long shots. Just call it superstar mode or something like that, or career mode or something. But you should record up to 2 hours in cutscenes, and no cutscene in a game should be longer than 10 seconds. That right there for 2 hours, that's over 1,200, I believe. I could be getting this completely wrong. No. It's like it's a shitload of cutscenes in the fucking game. It's a shitload of cutscenes. I got to do the fucking math. I should have did the math before I fucking brought it up. But, I mean, you're talking about a multitude of fucking different outcomes in every situation. You talk about cutscenes for free agency, cutscenes for draft, cutscenes for games after wins versus games after losses. You talk about cutscenes for pre-games in a locker room. You talk about cutscenes for the playoffs, for the Super Bowl, for the preseason, for the regular season. You talk about shit. You can even throw in some family dynamic where, like when they had in 2K with Spike Lee shit, but better than that shit. That shit was boring. I'm not a real fan of Spike Lee movies, so when they made a Spike Lee game, I was already on the fence about the shit. You could do a better job than that. But also a reward-based system for playing other game modes. So when you play like franchise, exhibition, or if you play online head-to-head, depending on how much time and how well you do, you should receive my Ultimate Team rewards for that. It should feel like it pays off, because a lot of times when you play Madden on any other game mode, it doesn't really feel like it pays off. It doesn't feel like anything. Like when I lose a game, I'm mad about the game, but I move on from it. Like when I lose an online game, or if I lose a game in franchise, it don't really matter to me that much after a while. Like after like maybe 10, 15 minutes. It don't matter. It don't feel like I actually got anything out of it. It doesn't feel like it mattered at all. And I feel like every experience in the game should matter. So I know that they put a lot of time in the Ultimate Team, a lot of time, because that's their moneymaker, and that's the way that they up their funds. But every game mode should feel like you can benefit from it, even if they don't make money off of it. That's what you call fan service. All right. And last thing, it should be a new AI system. All right, like when you're playing franchise, and if you're trading with one owner, like let's say I have the Jets and I'm trading with the Giants, and the Giants have a certain way of running their team, and they have a certain way of trading with people, and they have a certain habit of trading a certain way. But then I go to the Titans, and then I trade with the Titans, and it feels like the same experience with the Giants. It feels like I'm trading with the same person. Every team should have their own identity. Every team should feel different. Every team that you play with should feel different. Every team that you trade with should feel different. Every team that you play against should feel different. Even playbooks should be different. Like, I get it. It's a lot of work to put different plays in each playbook. But, there's no way I should see Patriot plays in other playbooks, because certain plays, like you have some basic plays like a halfback dive, or off tackle or some shit. That's basic shit. But a lot of their intricate plays in certain situations I shouldn't see in other playbooks. Like I believe the Steelers had a play that I used to like to run. I forgot the name of it, but I didn't see that play in any other playbook. And that's how it should feel. Every team should feel different than the other team. And it just doesn't feel different enough, so it feels boring. It feels like you're just playing with the same person. So it should be different. And that's about it. But hopefully this, reaches somebody, because I love Madden. I love football. I love talking about football. I love watching football. I love playing Madden, even though the game pisses me off, and it's been pissing me off for the last 10 years. The last time I enjoyed myself on a Madden, without a doubt, was Madden 2005 with Ray Lewis on the cover, where they emphasized defense. That was the introduction of the hit stick. I love that game. If I had an opportunity to today, I would play that shit right now. But, I don't. Got to get like a PlayStation or an Xbox or something. I'll be able to play it on there. But, that was the last time I actually enjoyed a football game. And I just played it, for hours. But hopefully, some of this stuff is already being implemented into the game. Hopefully somebody gets this and they like a couple of these ideas, and they're able to add them. So, all right.